Did you know that there is one lineage of Africa that has won the genetic race? A race that made them synonymous with the continent itself. When someone thinks of a stereotypical African, a blonde blue-eyed Algerian Berber or a squinty-eyed light-skinned Khoisan does not come to mind. Instead, one group, one racial and linguistic lineage, started off small, but a revolutionary change in lifestyle made them grow into the largest demography in the continent of Africa. And they're also the third largest demography of North America and the fourth largest in South America. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Niger-Congo lineage. So first thing first, who or what is a Niger-Congo? When you come across a black person, 9 out of 10 chances are that you meet a Niger-Congo. But what makes this lineage distinguished from others is the paternal Y DNA, haplogroup E1B1A, also known as M2, and subtle maternal mitochondrial DNA clades like L2 and L3. The Niger-Congo lineage is a distinct genetic race. Yes, race is a social construct, but this group branched off from a common ancestor of the East African, Nilo-Saharan, and the ancestral North African lineages, a common ancestor known as basal East African, approximately 50 to 70,000 years ago. Around this time, the proto-modern human population in Africa began to structure into regional clusters. The West African cluster became isolated enough to develop its own unique genetic identity through a process called allopatric divergence. While hominids have been in West Africa for much longer, as shown by the Io-Eleru skull, the genetic foundation of modern Niger-Congo lineage or basal West African began to diverge during the Middle Stone Age from the basal East African population, which is a group that represents the trunk of the human family tree after the deep divergent lineages like the Khoisan and Pygmies, and it is before the out of Africa migration occurred. This ancestral group existed roughly 60 to 80,000 years ago, likely in East Africa, stretching from the Nile Valley all the way to the Horn of Africa. From this single stem population, several major groups sprouted. The eastern branch migrated southeast, diversifying into the East African hunter-gatherer groups. The northern branch moved into North Africa, becoming the ancestral North Africans, which is the African ancestry of the Amazigh people. The western branch moved across the Sahel into West Africa to become the basal West Africans, which gave rise to the Niger-Congo lineage. And the central branch moved into northeast, eventually giving rise to the Nilo-Saharan lineage. These lineages, excluding the East African hunter-gatherer line, are closely related, making them equivalent to genetic cousins, while the East African hunter-gatherer more of a genetic uncle. Now, the basal West African went west and mixed with another non-human hominid. But before we move on, I have an important announcement. This video is just an introduction to this lineage, but in my book, World Encyclopedia of African People, I dove much deeper, not only on Niger-Congo lineage and its rich diversity, but also on all Afro-derived lineages from the oldest to the youngest to the groups that emerged during the Middle Ages, colonial era, and also the global Afro-derived diaspora. In each chapter, I explore their genetic and ancestral backgrounds, histories and migration, geographic distribution, phenotypic traits, languages and communication, traditional lifestyle and economies, cultural traits and customs, modern identity and diaspora, and much more to each and every African ethnic group. It's an eye-opening read full of knowledge, and one of the best ways to discover your African brethren. The book is available on Amazon, and it's the best way to support this channel. The link and more details are in description. Thank you very much. Now let's get back to the video. Genetic studies of some modern West African populations, including groups like the Yoruba and Mende, suggest ancestry from an ancient human population that separated from other human lineages hundreds of thousands of years ago. This population likely remained in Africa and later mixed with the ancestors of present-day West Africans. Researchers estimate that this admixture may have taken place between roughly 35,000 and 50,000 years ago, during a period where human groups were expanding and interacting across different regions of West Africa. Today, traces of this deep ancestry are still found in varying amounts within the same West African population. These inherited genetic segments are not just junk DNA. Some appear to play roles in important biological functions, including areas such as hormone activity and cellular protection. This means that the ancestry of Niger-Congo speaking population, like all human population around the world, was shaped by some admixture from archaic humans. By the time these communities began forming more recognizable identities in the late Ice Age, some already carried a unique blend of ancient regional ancestry that helped distinguish them from other populations within Africa and beyond. In the earliest geography, the ancestors of the Niger-Congo peoples lived across the green belt of ancient West Africa, stretching from present-day Senegal to Cameroon and deep into the moist equatorial forest. They adapt to river floodplains, fertile woodland savannas, and the dense rainforest ecosystem. Over time, they organically discovered farming centered on indigenous African crops such as yams, African rice, and forest legumes, while still maintaining strong hunting, fishing, and gathering traditions. Some communities remain on coastal and riverine, relying heavily on aquatic resources, while others occupied inland valleys where flexible agroforaging economies emerged. Within this broad zone, early population branches formed, some fading over time and others becoming the ancestral cause of later Niger-Congo linguistic families. The diversification of Niger-Congo languages occurred much later than their genetic foundation. Linguistic evidence suggests that Proto-Niger-Congo began fragmenting roughly between 10,000 and 15,000 years ago, following the post-Ice Age climatic stabilization that allowed population growth and regional expansion. This diversification unfolded in several major phases. One of the earliest surviving branches became the Kordofanian people of the Nuba Mountains, preserving an ancient linguistic relic of early Niger-Congo dispersal. The Ijoid people settled in the Niger Delta, developing specialized riverine cultures. The Mande people emerged as one of the earliest complex West African societies, laying foundations for later trading states and empires. The Volta Congo population diverged into major branches, including Kwa, Volta Niger, and the broader Atlantic Congo family. From Atlantic Congo arose Northern Atlantic speakers, including the Fulani cluster, as well as Southern Atlantic groups such as the Kru and coastal West African peoples. Inland, the Dogon established a distinctive highland cultural world in Mali, while the Senufo and Gur people shaped much of the Savannah belt. Eastwards, Adawama and Obangi groups developed along river systems of Central Africa, contributing to the region's complex cultural mosaic. The Beno-Congo expansion followed, producing both the Nambantu Beno-Congo and the vast Bantu family, whose later migrations will reshape much of sub-Saharan Africa. As Niger-Congo populations expanded, their ways of life were continually reshaped through interactions. Exchanges with Saharan herders introduced new animals, technologies, and pastoral strategies. Contact with the Nilo-Saharan and Cushitic populations influenced cultural keeping traditions in northern and eastern zones. In Central and Southern Africa, Bantu-speaking communities encountered older hunter-gatherer populations like the Khoisan and African Pygmies, absorbing ecological knowledge and adapting farming systems to forest, wetlands, and new climates. These encounters generated new mixed-race subgroups, hybrid economies, and regional identities, illustrating how Niger-Congo societies expanded not just replacement alone, but through interactions and transformation. Nevertheless, the phenotypic diversity within this lineage is a masterclass in evolutionary plasticity. While these groups share a common genetic core, the basal West African lineage and Y-DNA haplogroup E1B1A, their outward physical traits have been sculptured by the specific pressures of the African landscape over thousands of years. Three main types that emerged. They include the Sudanid, well adapted in the open, high UV Sahelian landscape, the Congolid, well adapted in humid forested landscape, and the Bantuid, the most versatile of them all, with the widest range of habitats. These phenotypes represent distinct biological strategies for surviving in the diverse African ecosystems, in which this requires a whole dedicated video. So that's it for today's video. If you like this video, check out my recent episodes. And as always, stay curious, stay smart, and thank you very much for watching.